Hello, everyone. I want to welcome you to the channel and I want to thank you for your support. I want to thank you for sharing the page. I want to thank you for subscribing to the channel. I want to thank you for everything. Thank you for your comments. I read all your comments, beautiful comments. Thank you so much. And I want to thank you for your advice. Advice is the second mother of a child. Thank you so much. And I want to give a shout out to Addis family. Thank you so much for the gift of the camera stand and the light. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. And to all my viewers, I say thank you for your support. I love you all. Now, today, I want to talk about a question that was posted to my mail that says, I'm tired of my marriage. What am I doing wrong? I am tired of my marriage. What am I doing wrong? I want to say to this person that don't be tired of your marriage. I pray that there shall be renewal in your marriage. There shall be revival in your marriage in the name of Jesus. And I want to begin to say that marriage is a destiny of its own. Marriage is spiritual. And marriage is an identity. You know, when you marry, your status change, and you become a married man or married woman. So that is how it is. So marriage is a covenant between two individuals that have agreed to come together as husband and wife. So marriage is a collision between two of known identical history. The two past history. Everyone, the husband and the wife, they both have past history. So they are bringing their past history to the marriage. They are bringing their baggages to the marriage. They are bringing the way their upbringing. They are bringing it to the marriage. Their cultural background, they are both bringing it to the marriage. Now, let me make example of mine as an example. I grew up and I was brought up in the northern parts. My husband grew up, brought up in the southern part. So now, what do you think will happen when both of us now comes together? Surely there will be friction. And that's why I said it is the grace of God to build a home. No, not any man should boast of. Is the grace of God. If marriage stand, is the grace of God and putting effort, putting work to it, to make it work. And as we all know, we are running a race in this life. So life is a journey and not a destination. The people that want to make it a destination, they may end up in frustration. May our marriage not be frustrated in the name of Jesus. May our life not be frustrated. Now, when you look at from the book of Genesis up to the Revelation, God talked about marriage. And even the first miracle that Jesus did is where? It's at a wedding in Cana. So God is interested in your marriage. God is interested in my marriage. And I have to make it work. You have to make it work. Let's go back to the genealogy of marriage. Let's go back to the book of Genesis. I know this verse is not new to anyone. Genesis chapter 2, verse 18. When we start before verse 18, and the Bible recorded that God created all animals, two of its kind, but Adam is only one. And when God created Adam, and Adam named all the animals, he named them. And I know when Adam was naming all these animals, there is a sort of interaction going on. And Adam may have knew that there's no compatible here. No one looked like me. And the Bible recorded that God said, it is not good for a man to be alone. I will make for him a helper comparable to him. That means all those animals that are not comparable to Adam. And God saw this. And that is why God took from the rib of Adam's and made Eve a woman and brought it to the Adam, and Adam saw this and said, hey, this is it. All I've seen so far, all the animals, different kinds that I see so far, they are not comparable with me. Now I have seen what is comparable with me. He said, now this is the bone of my bone, the flesh of my flesh, and she shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. So marriage is good, but marriage is not bed of all roses. And when you go down below verse 24 of the book of Genesis, when you go to verse 24, what did it say? It says, therefore a man will leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, and two shall become one flesh. Two shall become one flesh. That's what the Bible says. Two shall become one flesh. I know I talked about the friction before. I talk about the friction in marriage. The first few years of marriage, when you notice it, I don't know if people notice that. The first few years of marriage, I call it the first trimester. The first trimester of marriage. People enter into storm. There's storm. Storm will come because your thinking is different. The way you do things is different from the way your husband will do things. And when you now comes together, you now realize all the characters, all the behaviors that is hidden before when you are courting or when you are dating. There are some character that is hidden. There are some behaviors that is hidden during those period. And when you now live together as husband and wife, you now begin to see all those characters, all those behaviors. Now, what do you do at this particular time to make your marriage work? What labor are you going to put into it? And that's what we're about to discuss right now. All the marriages that you have seen so far, it takes the grace of God to build that home. It's the grace of God. It's the grace of God that a marriage is built, that a marriage is stand for years without falling. It is the grace of God. And why this person says, I am tired of marriage, what am I doing wrong? So for that person to say that, it means that person is going through something in that home. That person is going through something in that marriage that nobody can tell except she explained herself. And if nothing is nothing done, then the marriage is about to crumble. I pray that marriage will not crumble. When someone is not enjoying his or her marriage, then second thoughts will begin to come up. Divorce voice will begin to sink in. Separation will begin to whisper to you. And hanging in there is also a separation, but you are still living together, but you are separated. And people hanging there because of so many reasons. Because of I don't want people to know. Oh, I don't want people to talk about me. So they hang in there. They didn't voice out. They didn't voice out that this is what I'm going through. What can I do? Advice is the second mother of a child. And for that person to have voiced out that I'm tired of my marriage, what am I doing wrong? Then there's a lot of accumulation of stress, a lot of accumulation of issues that is undealt with. Lack of love, lack of patience, lack of self-control. When all these things set in, then second thoughts will begin to roll into your mind. That is one reason. And the second reason that I want to discuss about is the motive. Why do you marry that man? Why do you marry that woman? Your expectation that you brought into your marital relationship, we either spell it doom or we spell it success. Do you marry that particular man or that particular woman because of money, or because of a good job that he or she has, or because you marry him because she's beautiful, or you married him because he's handsome, he has six pack, or you marry him because, oh, you don't want, because many people are lobbying, many people want to go out with him, so you want to quickly tie him down. What is your motive in going into that marital relationship for the first instance? Because that's your motive will describe how the marriage will be. That is another reason there. Then the third reason that I want to mention is about the maybe the both party have left God out of the scene. Maybe the man have left God out of the scene, or the woman have left God out of the scene, or both of them left God out of the scene. In this situation, when something is going on, there's friction in the marriage, what do? You go back to the manufacturer. You go back to the owner of the institution, which is God. It's God that institute marriage. It's the ordinance of God. You go back to him and begin to tell God in your prayer that, God, you situated me here for a purpose and for a reason. And you table all your matter. You are not informing him, but you are inviting God into your marriage. When you invite God into your marriage, for God to have his way in your marriage, God will do it for you. But you don't have what it takes to change any rule or to change any man. You don't have what it takes to change any woman. It's just like you buy a car. When you buy a car, you just go to the car dealer or car seller or car dealer. You see the car you want and you buy it. When you bring your car home, you cannot say to yourself that this car that I bought, oh, I don't want the steering is on this side. I don't want the steering to be on this side. I want the steering to be on the other side. Or I don't want the engine to be in the front. I want the engine to be in the back. You want to change. You want to remote it. You don't have what it takes because you are not the manufacturer of that car. You either, even if you had the money, you either take it back to the manufacturer store and ask them to do it the way you want. But you cannot do it on your own. Likewise, your husband, you did not make your husband. It's God that made him. Your wife, likewise your wife. So if there is something that is wrong, then you need to go back and tell God. And tell God, hand over your wife to God's hand. Hand over your husband to God's hands. And that's what I said. It takes the grace of God to build a home. All the marriages that you are seeing, celebrating 10 years anniversary, jubilating. I jubilate mine too, 25 years anniversary. Hey. But it's to be to God's glory. It takes the grace of God to build a home. All those people, all the people that you see celebrating 60 years old, 70 years anniversary, you will say, wow. So those people that are celebrating anniversary in marriage is a product. It's a product of labor. It's a product of hard working. It's a product of commitment. It's a product of sacrifice. It's a product of making God to be the centerpiece in their marriage. Marriage is a living organism. Depend on what you put in there that will determine the output you receive. If you put love into your marriage, you will gain the love back. If you put peace into your marriage, you will definitely gain peace back. If you, whatever you put into your marriage, you will get. You cannot put nagging into your marriage and expect to get love. No. You cannot put fight into your marriage and expect that you get love. No. It's whatever you put into your marriage that you go to get back. In the builder, they call something settlement in building. That means when there is cracking wall, in a house, they will first amend it. They will amend the cracking wall. But if the cracking wall is, you didn't amend the cracking wall, and the cracking is going all the way down, what do you think will happen to the whole house? The whole house will eventually collapse if there's no amendment, if there's no settlement in the house. If you know the rules of building, you will have a home and not a house. If you know the rules in building, you will have a home and not a mansion. If you know the rules in building, you will have a home and not a house. So let me take us back to the book of Ephesians. The letter of Paul to the book of Ephesians. Ephesians chapter 5. When you read from the top of that chapter 5, when you have at your leisure time, just read the whole verses. Ephesians chapter 5. When at the beginning, it talks about walk in love. And when you read further down, it talks about walk in light. We are the light of the world. Walk in light. It talks about walk in light. And when you read further down, it talks about walk in wisdom. So in marriages, we have to apply all this rule. Walk in love, walk in wisdom of God, walk in the light of God. And when you read verse 22, when you get to verse 22, it gave us the principle that binds marriage together, the principle that will make marriage to work. And what are the principles? It distributed it. Woman, the principle to do to abide with, and the man also has his own principle. For the woman, he said, wife, submit to your husband. Submit to your husband. And the love is in the submission. Because if you love the man, if you love your husband, then to submit to him will be easy for you. And when you get to verse 25, he gave the man too his own. You see, that is division of labor, work simplicity. He said to the man, love your wife as Christ loved the church. How did the Christ love the church? So for a man to be able to love, his wife, then he has to do so many things. He has to die in his ego. And he has to love his wife unconditionally. Because the kind of love that Jesus bestowed upon the church is unconditional love. Is agape love of God. There is no condition placed to why Jesus should die for us. Love is God, and we must love like him. Yes. That's the kind of love our husband should bestow or should give to us. Unconditional love. No matter how. Do not place any condition to why you should love me. I should not place any condition to why I should submit to my husband. This principle is a principle that makes marriage work if we follow it diligently. In conclusion, I want to say to us, we all have games, different games. I don't know. Some people like football. Some people like baseball. Some people like volleyball. Some people like soccer. So many kind of games. But do we realize that these games, they have different rules that guided these games? You cannot import a rules in one game to another games. No, it doesn't work that way. Let's take example of Olympic in jumping. In Olympic games in jumping, there's a line is being drawn, and no matter how you can jump, once your leg touches the line, the drawn line, once your leg touches that line, you are going to be automatically be disqualified from the game. So every game have their own rules. When you go to college or you go any institutions, they have their own rules already. They have their own rules. They have their that must be followed. You cannot you even if you have been given an admission to that college, you have been given an admission to that institution, you don't have what it takes to change any rules there. You have to go there and abide with the rules and regulations. If not, you're going to be disqualified. You're going to be expelled from the school. So God institute marriage and must be teleguided by him alone. And when you come into marriage, you must obey the rules of marriage according to God's ordinance. We must obey. For our marriage to work, we must obey. We must obey. Obedience is better than sacrifice. And I pray that God will grant every home. God will grant every one of us, every home, our true riches. And identify each other's love language, because we all should have each other's love language. You should understand the way your husband communicates, verbally or non-verbally. I should be able to understand how my husband communicates. Let me shock it out. Let me give you an example. My first few years of marriage, maybe, I don't know, I can't remember now, maybe 2 years or something of my marriage, when something happened, like intense, fellowship, like a misunderstanding, I refer to intense, fellowship. When it happened, and we resolve it, and I expected my husband to say, I am sorry, and he will not be able to do it. For several times, he will not be able to do that. But you know what he did? He did it in a different ways. And thank God for giving me, for opening my eyes, or, for my eyes to see, for opening my ears of understanding. And when such a things happen, do you know what he did to resolve the settlements? He will just play the music. You know the music that my husband play? Now let me sing it to you. Let me sing it for you. That music that says, I don't know if you guys still remember it. It say, Olomi, Onitemi, ọ̀rẹ́ mi olólùfẹ́, ṣe bójú kọ sálàdá ni, lọ́lá Olúwa kò sóhun tó yà wá. Once he put that song, I know my husband is making a settlement with me. And I laugh, I smile, and that end the issue. Because I understand, I understand that you couldn't say it, but you say it in a different form, in another way. I laugh. And that settled the whole matter. And gradually, I begin to say to him, no, but I know what you mean. But you know what? You have to be able to say it verbally and said, I am sorry. I don't have a problem in saying to you, I am sorry, my dear. I am sorry, my sweetie. I am sorry, my honey. I am sorry, my Oluwami. I am sorry. I don't have problem to say that. Why? But I realize that it takes the grace of God. It takes the grace of God. It takes the grace of God. And a house is not built in a day. It's a gradual process. And gradually, he became, adopted to be able to say, I am okay, I am sorry. After sometimes, he now did it. I pray that the Lord Almighty will be with us. We uphold our home, our marriage with his right hand of righteousness. Our home will not fall. God will return back to us our first love in the name of Jesus. And I want to leave this quote with us, that marriage is a covenant to be enjoyed and not a contract to be endured. We will enjoy our marriage in the name of Jesus. Remain blessed and thank you all.